can't just do that. You can't just lie. To ruin someone's life without expecting them to fight back. In case you're unaware, that is what this document and this video tries to do. In this video, I'm going to be explaining to you what is true, what isn't true, and I'm going to be exposing the people orchestrating all of this. Not to push the blame, or to distract people, but rather to prove my point, that the people orchestrating this aren't here to do the right thing. They aren't here to act in good faith. They aren't here to protect people. They're here for attention. And they're willing to lie, twist, and manipulate to get people believing what they want. All of this begins with one single person. A person named JENNYSAYMOW, otherwise known today as UNOME. If you go to this image on rec.net, which dates back to August of 2020, you'll see a picture that I took of Jenny holding his maker pen next to FNAF animatronics. That is when I met Jenny, at the age of 12 years old. Jenny at the time was a pretty established and popular creator, and was around a year or two older than me. I looked up to him, and he inspired me to create stuff just like him. After this image was taken, I continued hanging around Jenny, meeting his friends, and playing his Rec Room Five Nights at Freddy's fan games, until at some point, a few weeks or maybe even a few days after, I joined his private friend group, Mau Mau Mau. Mau 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 was one of, if not the first friend group I had ever joined on the internet. I joined in 2020 and left on December of 2022. Throughout my stay, here's what I was exposed to between the ages of 12 and 14.
Hey, JENNYSAYMOW, I'm going to shove your into my
No, Bear, that sounds extremely painful. Don't do it.
Hey guys, it's me, Space Ghost. Bear, don't do that.
Oh yeah? We'll see about that. Round 1. Space Ghost versus BearDaBear battle. Oh yeah, Space Ghost, you'll never handle my... You'll never handle my ultra laser.
Oh yeah? Well, you'll never handle Dust Trust Phase 6.
Fuck! The end.
To give you an idea of how young I was, here's a recording of me at the time.
Hello, welcome to Beat Saber Songs. This game is still a work in progress, so you can't play any of the songs yet. You can only view the songs.
Now, what do you think being exposed to all of that does to a little kid? A little kid who's trying to fit into a group, with the leader being a creator he looks up to. Well, in my case, it influenced me to be the exact same, which is what these are. First of all, I want you to understand that today, I am not that person anymore. I've surrounded myself with better people and have put rules in place for myself and my friends to be better. Today, I fully understand that this was wrong, very wrong, and I'm apologetic about it. Back then, though, I was influenced and manipulated into thinking that this was okay behavior. Because this is what got us accepted. This is what made us feel included. And it absolutely does not reflect the 17-year-old that I am today. I've been harassed and called a over these. I want you to realize that these were years ago, when I was just a kid. This didn't come from a creep. It came from an influenced child around the wrong people. And I'm not using that to justify these things. I'm just adding very necessary context. They isolate these screenshots to make it look like I was the only one doing it. But in reality, these messages are surrounded by the exact same things. I can also add some context to the one on the right here. The censored user here was a member of Mau Mau Mau, and I think still is. And the only thing I knew about him is that he lost his virginity at a young age. I know this because he would brag about it in VC to look cool. Now, if you've seen the original document, you would know that these aren't everything inside of there. That is because the creators of this document decided they didn't have enough evidence. So they framed me. Framed me for things I never did, to make me look way worse. That is what these are. These fake images were purposefully added by the authors, knowing very well they weren't real. Let's go over these one by one. This image claims that in this message, I shared an explicit image of a 13-year-old, which, first of all, is completely fake. In fact, the person who made the image is someone I used to know a really long time ago, and recently, he confirmed himself that he made it. Now, while yes, I could have absolutely just gotten some random guy to claim he made the image, this isn't a random guy. This guy has been part of Mau 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 for a few years now and has been in direct contact with Jenny. I'll tell you a lot more about that a little later in the video when we start talking about the authors. Second, even if it was real, I had just turned 14 at that date. This image is also not real, fabricated by Jenny himself. In this one, you can visually tell that it was modified. The quality of the text and image are severely different, then pixelated down to make it look similar. These messages did happen, although what absolutely didn't happen is this part right here. This is another case of me trying to fit in, to look cool. You can literally tell by the emoji sent right after. Saying that made me feel respected, and you can tell by the messages right after that I was being validated for it. I don't hold any material like that, and I never have. Now this one. I did have messages with this person, and I used to know her back in 2022. She would often make things like this and distribute them. To give you an idea of this person, in 2022, when I just turned 14, they sent me this video. This video is a SpongeBob clip, followed by someone... And here's proof that it's the same person. This one is disgusting and also didn't happen. In fact, I made my own to display how easy it is to fake something like this. This one, I actually found the original message exchange from 2022, and here it is. It was with Space Ghost. It was me sending a screenshot of Space Ghost when he had his camera on during a VC, with the caption, "Live Space Ghost reaction." Then he sent this, and that was it for the day. Now, I agree that I absolutely could have just deleted the message if it was there, but you're gonna have to trust me. And later down this video, I'm gonna be showing you exactly why you shouldn't trust them. This one was made by the same person as the She's 13 one, and as we discussed before, he admitted directly to having made these back in the day. You can tell by the same Discord theme too. The next category on the document is racism. Now, the video you're watching right now is an edited and well put together version of a response video I already made so that I could upload it to YouTube. But because of time constraints, this next part will just be from that response. Now onto this. BearDaBear claims to not have known the meaning of the N-word since English is not his first language, but that can be proven wrong by simply taking a look at a few screenshots dating back to 2021. Now, I did say this, but not in the way that the author is trying to make it sound. What I did know at the time of being 13 years old is that it's the worst word you could use, and that it was often used against black people in our current day and age. Although what I genuinely did not understand at the time was the severity of the word and its actual history. And again, it did not help that I was surrounded by people who normalized it around me all the time. For anything that's just the appearance of the slur in my messages and stuff that's obviously just jokes and not me genuinely showing hatred towards black people, I'm just gonna skip. Now we arrive to Skull, but right before that, I gotta cover this. This year happened at the start of 2022 when I just turned 14. Before this exchange, I was hosting events on Rec Room called Counting to 100,000, and people could pay tokens to increase the amount of numbers I have to count. I put a lot of effort in preparing for these events, and they would often result in them being completely griefed by hackers. After the 5th or so time that this happened, someone messaged me claiming they had the Discord user of someone who was hacking these events. So I talked to this guy in private, he rage baited me, and then I sent this message which contained the hard R. My thought process at the time was, what is the worst thing I could say to this guy right now? And without thinking twice, I sent it. And to this very day, I am apologetic about it. I took responsibility, but on the moment, I felt the heat and wanted to make an apology as quickly as possible, which resulted in 3 different rushed apologies. They all terribly suck. I was avoiding the blame and not really apologizing. And so a few months after I released this 30-second half-assed apology, I went into the YouTube editor and removed all of it. And now it's just 3 seconds of silence with this message on the screen. The real apology is on the right. You can go read it on YouTube right now. It's public to see. And so I suggest you go give it a read if you're really that interested. Which brings me to Skull. During the middle of all of this, Skull dropped a YouTube video covering it, which heated things up and resulted in this live stream clip and this image right here. This image is a screenshot of a YouTube community post made by Skull, which obviously showed his physical skin color, and Skull is light-skinned, which is a concept I was genuinely unfamiliar with at the time. I was not taught what that meant. So I sent the base screenshot in his Discord server, he replied with this, and then I replied with this. An edited image where one of my friends at the time just bucket tooled his entire skin with the color white, which is known as whitewashing, which is also a concept I was genuinely not aware of. I just took it at face value as just a stupid joke. I was 13. Which brings me to this clip.
SK0L is not black, he's pretending to be. Mixed race, bro. What does that mean? You're white or you're black?
First of all, this is absolutely an insane thing to say while on a live stream in front of 100 people, and it would be the last time I would ever do it. Although what I will be honest about is that this isn't me being genuinely racist. It's me being genuinely really ignorant. Back then, I thought the terms white people and black people was directly referring to the literal skin color of a person, not their race or their origin of their parents. So when I say
you're white or you're black,
I am literally referring to the color spectrum from white to black. I myself am mixed race and did not know what it meant. The author literally points that out here, but doesn't stop to consider that maybe I genuinely have no idea what I'm talking about. Because the authors don't care. The only thing they want from this is to see me go down. They've been trying to expose me and find personal information on me for years now. Fairly recently, around a year ago, he addressed his racism. This still doesn't change the fact that he lies about not knowing the meaning of the N-word, despite claiming that he does understand its meaning here. Yeah, no, I don't know why they're trying to twist what I'm saying here to make it sound like I actually did know, but no. All I'm saying here is that it's the worst word I knew. Now onto this next part. Yeah, this happened. This happened after a friend of mine leaked a really old Twitter account from when I was 13 and still influenced by MAMAMAU, which made me extremely embarrassed, stressed, and angry. Back then, I should have definitely controlled myself more. This was almost 2 years ago. Here's the Twitter account. As I just said, this was a really long time ago. I think I was 13, maybe 12 here. I don't really remember. Now we're gonna get into some pretty crazy stuff. This clip, first of all, is a joke between friends. There's nothing actually malicious here. The friend group that this happened in is the current friend group I hang out around. A friend group that I created called The, and here's the rules of the friend group. Now, admittedly, it feels like what I did in the clip broke these rules, and today I wouldn't do this. But we weren't saying these things ourselves or using it as an insult in any capacity. We were just triggering an AI into saying it. It's stupid, edgy humor in a private friend group. This doesn't prove that I genuinely hate certain races, and it's absolutely stupid to include it here. Now, let me show you a clip from this same session, a clip that I took. Now, let's pause right here. We're not at that section yet. For now, let's just move on to the next part of this document. Let's talk about this Roblox avatar on my profile. I can confirm that this happened, and I do apologize. Although, the way this document and Toaster's video represent it is very misleading. This stuff lasted a couple days at most and did not evolve any further than just jokes. Absolutely nothing sexual happened. It was just us scrolling Twitter and finding the craziest avatars to recreate. Still, I understand that it was wrong, and again, I apologize. And this is completely unrelated. I was playing a fighting game and was wearing a variation of this outfit. I'm not even sure if the person in the chat is even referring to me. The difference between me and the people from MAMAMAU who wrote this document is that, first of all, 99% of the content in this document was from a really long time ago. I've grown since then. They haven't grown at all. As I mentioned earlier, I left MAMAMAU during December of 2022. Ever since, they have been harassing and spreading rumors about me. Not to mention that until very, very recently, they would still facilitate and encourage the same weird shit as when I used to be in there. Until recently, when Jenny finally decided to make this document. Second of all, when it comes to the Roblox stuff, the most they can do is speculate that weird shit was going on. I, on the other hand, have witnesses. Multiple people who were there when we were doing this can tell you exactly what happened. For more information on exactly that, join this Discord server that my friends volunteered to make, where you can talk about the document and see my friend's perspective on everything. Now onto the rec.net botting. I can confirm that this happened. I was messing around with alt accounts and Python programs and managed to bot my recnet posts to have a ton of cheers. A rec room staff messaged me, we talked for a bit, and I stopped. That's literally it. I don't artificially bot stuff actively. I just did it for a few posts back in 2022. Trust me, I don't need to bot my posts. Besides, I don't think anyone here actually cares about a couple extra Rec Room Twitter likes. I find it really ironic that the people who wrote this document are using me cheating the system a few years ago as leverage, when there's tons of evidence of them taking part in entire groups dedicated to hacking on Rec Room. Now for the next section, which claims that I blackmailed my friend Goblino into being my friend, and shows message logs as proof of that. First of all, I don't blackmail my friends. I've never blackmailed my friends. I don't hold personal information on my friends, and I don't note down personal information on them either. I myself have gotten blackmailed before. Everything here is entirely false, and it's from a period where Goblino was manipulated by the people from MAMAMAU to record things that happen in my group chat, as I mentioned earlier, and secretly send them the recordings to the people in MAMAMAU, which caused a whole lot of drama, where we argued, talked, settled, and became friends again up until today. I don't know what possessed him to say this back then. And you know what? Here's Goblino himself directly talking about it. And now finally, we talk about the authors, the people who have been working on all of this behind the scenes for years, and how each and every single one of them cannot be trusted in the slightest. The reason I'm about to show you all of this isn't to push the blame, it's not to distract people, it's to display to you that all of these people are willing to lie, twist, and manipulate just to display me as a bad person. They do not care about the real truth, and they're not here to protect anyone. They have ulterior motives, and I'm gonna show you them right now. Rage today is 22 years old. I met her in December of 2022 and cut her off on February 24th of 2025. When I first met her, she was 19 and I was 15, and we got along pretty well. So well, in fact, that I decided to invite her to my friend group, The. Overall, she was a great person, but as we were approaching 2025, she started developing a very visible and unhealthy attachment to me. She became so emotionally focused on me, where at times when I wouldn't give her the validation she was expecting, it would lead her to spiral. She would also get jealous and start acting strange when new girls would be invited to the group chat, or were present in the VCs at all. This is what brought me to cut her off. She started getting dangerous, toxic, and generally uncomfortable to be around. You can read all about it in the messages being displayed on screen right now. These are the last interactions I had with her before I finally decided to stop everything. After I cut her off, she went and purposefully seeked out a group of people she knows hates me, which is when she joined MAU. Now, even though I mentioned that she started getting weird mostly towards the end of her stay in it's important to know that she made people uncomfortable on multiple occasions even before that. During her stay, it would often feel like she's a mentally unstable creep. Today, she tries to lie to people about how she acted. But here, I'm gonna be showing you exactly what she was really like. And I have tons of witnesses from back in the day that can back all of this up. There was one time in VC where I had my camera on and I jokingly said, "Yo chat, rate my attractiveness from 1 to 10. And she privately messaged me 9 out of 10. In that same VC, before she did that, we indirectly mentioned how it would be weird for her to comment on it, and she still did it. Bearing in mind that at the time, she was 21 and I was 16. There was another time with her camera on, she showed her glow-in-the-dark dildo with 3 minors in the VC, and was talking about how she uses it when her boyfriend isn't in town. And in our last few messages, when she was in MAU, she tried actually denying that that ever happened. But I'm sure I don't have to explain why there's screenshots of exactly that on the screen right now, and why this was wrong. She would also in VCs draw realistic furries in sexually suggestive positions with minors present, and share progress of these images and stream the process. Now, we're skipping a bit to the future here. This is Rage, a picture she took and posted in MAU directly as of April of this year, which at the time of recording includes people as young as 13. Now, back to when she used to be in another thing to know is that Rage would concerningly often joke about her personal information in VCs in a way where she would sometimes just read out her entire social security number, home address, full name, names of her family members, etc. It sounds absolutely ridiculous and hard to believe, but she would actually do that. And considering that from this document, I found out that during her stay in the friend group, she was often recording the VCs without telling us, it wouldn't be that far-fetched to say that she would purposefully say these things in VC to use it against me at some point. In fact, after she was banned from the friend group, I have a clip of me going undercover on an alt account, finding her in a random public VC in the server chill zone, where she would just blatantly lie about things.
No, I lost my whole friend group. Well, I was friends with this little shit-ass YouTuber that I didn't even know he was a YouTuber. For one, when I first met him, I joined a random server on recroom because I was bored and I was playing with my cousin on there. And, you know, we were trolling people. You go on and you can create
Like ROBLOX.
Kinda, yeah. And, you know, so I was genuinely his friend. It's not like I was his friend because he was a YouTuber. He called me a fangirl, and I'm like, dude, I don't give a shit about your little YouTube channel.
You can tell, like, you can hear a little bit of my old mic there. I never called her a fangirl. She was genuinely my friend. I was genuinely her friend. We only wanted the best for her, and all of her friends from back then can confirm that.
Okay, I don't give a shit. Never watched a video. And he has my social security number. So
Why does he have that?
he found it.
You told me, and I didn't note it. I don't have it.
So you can tell from right there, I was just commenting on it while being muted. This isn't me, by the way. It's just a random profile picture I found. But he found it? What, I just randomly found your social security number? Are we serious? She would unironically repeat this too, as if I just walked out my house and just saw a bunch of papers on the ground, right? I pick one up and it says, Rage's social security number. Gotta pocket this one. A few weeks before this clip, you read it out loud to us completely unprompted. I don't care about your social security number. But yeah, I cut ties with her almost a year ago and she is still trying to get at me. I suggest you give these DMs I showed earlier a quick read. Now, do you remember this clip from earlier included in the document? Well, when you remove the white cover by going to a clip of that same session I took myself, it reveals two faces. One is Panzer, we're still friends today, and the other is Rage. That, and coupled with the fact that in the document the original clip has a Nyan Cat mouse, proves to me and you guys that she is one of the 3 to 4 contributors to this document. This is why I'm including her in this video. Now, please heavily note that I'm not leaking her face by showing you this. She has shown her face on her Discord account publicly before. In fact, she would also sometimes even rename her display name to her real name. Now, I'm not gonna say her real name here because I don't see the point, but in my original response video, I did mention her name. Note that down for future reference. As of the time of recording these lines, she is still actively in MAU, scheming with the others about this whole situation. And I'll show you a lot of proof of that later down the video, like right next after this. And speaking of MAU, let's move on to our next author, Jenny himself. Earlier in the video, I already showed you guys what Jenny used to be like. Actually, I probably shouldn't be saying used to be like, considering he's the exact same today, but don't worry, I won't hold the past against him. Let's focus on the present. To about a week or two ago, when the infamous document first released, Jenny led me to believe that he actually had no part in making the document at all, and even feigned trying to help me. So I asked him to confirm who did have part in making the document. I had some idea of the people involved, so I asked directly. T-Drink, Chaz, and Rage, right? By the way, T-Drink and Chaz are two members of MAU, who have also been harassing me for years now. And he responded,
I don't know about Rage. She's not very tech-savvy.
Basically saying that he is sure about the other two, but not so much about Rage. But as we confirmed earlier, she did have part in making it. Now, when the document first released, we actually managed to get some data on which email address actually made the document. This was the email address. And when we found that out, I was told that it was a shared Gmail, primarily made by Jenny. So I asked him directly, do you still have access to the Gmail account?
It's a shared email.
I know.
I stopped using it after Venturi and Tail 2 got banned from YouTube. I do have access.
Would you be willing to take the document down with that access? Following that, although he took his sweet-ass time, he actually did delete the document. But obviously it didn't matter at all. There were already tons of copies everywhere. At that point, he did it. He successfully convinced me and a few others that he didn't actually have any part in writing any of the document. So when I made my original unedited response video before this one, I decided to censor his name and refer to Mau as Friend Group Red. Although now I regret ever trying to protect him, and I'll explain to you why that is in a minute. When I released my original response video covering everything, my friends volunteered to make a Discord server dedicated to talking about the document, which is still up by the way, and after this video releases, I suggest you go join it. The invite is on the screen. There's a lot more info there than what I could fit into this video. But anyways, Jenny himself actually ended up joining that server and making a statement. But right before I get to that, you need some more context. Context that I included in my original response video, and if I don't tell it to you right now, his statement wouldn't make any sense. Number one, here's a little compilation to show you what Chazgo and T-Drink are like. These screenshots that you saw just a few seconds ago is a user named Draconero streaming himself drawing straight up porn in public Mau VCs with no restrictions, which is insane. Well, not that insane since it's Mau, considering there is currently a member as young as 12 in that server. Number 3, Rage now owns a world account where she posts self-insert NSFW of herself. She also posts it publicly, slightly censored on Instagram. Number 4, Rage also posts her NSFW art uncensored directly into Mau, which still includes people as young as 12 or 13. Now we can finally get into Jenny's statement that he sent in the server.
Considering making a video saying that my server isn't full of racist pedos. Thanks, Bear. Crofin and Chaz are not the same person. Crofin is not a member of my server. Drake and Neuro was punished for streaming NSFW. That was around December 2023. Bernie is no longer a server member as of January 2025. There are no 12-year-olds in my server. GrrRage and I have no connection to the document other than our videos and photos being used. Rock and I are working on a game right now and don't have time to be making stuff like this. Rage contributed nothing other than a video. Nobody groomed BearDaBear into doing anything. To add on, I'd like to point out that BearDaBear basically doxed GrrRage and Chazcode without any definitive evidence that they worked on the document. Not to mention, spreading a misconception that Chaz is a pedo for liking Rouse, something BearDaBear is guilty of himself on multiple occasions in his own Discord server, and stalking GrrRage in a separate server to see if she would talk about him.
Alright, well since you, the owner of Friend Group Red, decided to make yourself publicly known, I'll reply to this. It was never stated that Crofney and Chaz are the same person. The response video actually separates them and your server. Draconero was only punished for streaming himself drawing catnap porn after numerous people complained to you over and over. Okay, that doesn't change what all his messages say. Not sure why you have to come out and defend yourself considering I didn't even name you in the response. He aged a year, which makes him 13 now. That's not any better. Even if Rage only contributed with a video, which isn't the case, she's still involved and a contributor. Not to mention that there's info in that document that only she had access to. Also, you were never even named as an author of the document in my original response. I purposefully didn't even name you in the response because you were actually being helpful. But now that you purposefully go out to say that, it makes me question why some of the sentences that are written in the document are referring to themselves as you directly. Simplifying doxing like that is disgusting, considering that there are people who are actually trying to actively dox me after this came out. I didn't dox anyone. I just gave publicly available information. Rage's face and name are both things she has shown publicly before. I also didn't spread any misconception that Chaz is a predator, nor am I guilty of something to that degree in my own server. After I sent my response, he reacted with an X emoji exactly 15 seconds after I sent it. He did not bother to read a single thing. A few minutes later though, he decided to message me directly with an answer to my answer.
Okay, since you want to have a one-sided argument, allow me to elaborate further. 1. The photo in your response very clearly makes Chaz and Crofin out to be the same person. 2. Yeah, I was probably doing something and was unaware. I took action. What else is there to do? 3. I never liked Bernie all that much. I knew there was something weird about him. It appears you're implying that I considered him a close friend or something. I kicked him because he's into some really fucked up shit that his former girlfriend brought to light for us. 4. He's the literal definition of a side character. Anyone who doesn't join VC often, I don't consider to be a real server member. 5. All GrrRage has talked about for the last few days is how afraid she is for her family. I am genuinely concerned for her. From your DMs, all edited by the way, with her, it seems you weren't being a very good friend. You contradict yourself multiple times per second and try to twist it to seem like she's insane. In fact, you called her a mentally ill psychopath. Also, who the fuck just gives their personal info away like that? That seems really out of character. I asked Gablino for more info about GrrRage, and he just never sent anything. I'm trying to be on your side, but you're making it difficult.
Screenshot from a server where T-Drink and Chazgo participated versus screenshot of Chazgo from a server T-Drink owns. Just not what I wrote, man. Let's not pretend like that shit wasn't allowed for years. Yeah, I didn't even take this one seriously. I mean, like, the dude was in your friend group that you own. The word friend is literally in the name. So you're admitting there's a 13-year-old in there and purposefully said, there are no 12-year-olds in my server. In your first response to keep it vague enough to where you're not directly lying. I didn't bother taking this one seriously in the slightest. Dude is just making shit up as he goes. It's insane. That's a great question. Why would she do that? After he said that, I didn't even bother debating his points and just ended with this, because as it turns out, he primarily made the document. He's not trying to be on my side. He's just playing a character to show other people that he was trying to be the good guy. And this is when I introduced 2 new faces to our story. First one is Polish Nathan, the same Nathan I showed you earlier who debunked the screenshots in the document claiming ownership of them. The second one is also named Nathan, so I'm just going to be referring to him as Blitz Nathan, since this Nathan is the owner of Blitzboxer on Recroom. Now, Blitz Nathan decided to involve himself pretty closely with the whole situation. So much, in fact, that he managed to get access to MaMaMao for 30 minutes to run his own investigation, with Jenny saying, go on and join, we have nothing to hide. And you know what he concluded after writing up 30 pages on MaMaMao? He concluded that all they did is hide things and lie. I'll link the document he made in the description, it's genuinely crazy. And you wanna know the absolute best part? After Blitz Nathan got kicked, Polish Nathan sent me these screenshots from MaMaMao. Quote, it's unethical to lie and hide shit, sure, but it's BearDaBear. Do I even need to say anything? This whole thing has been about how you have nothing to hide, and as soon as the guy leaves, you just blatantly admit to doing that. Not only do you confirm that you lie and hide things, but in the same sentence, you confirm that it's out of a vendetta against me. How are these the same people who made the document? And it doesn't stop there. It's actually very, very far from stopping there. In fact, literally one message apart, the same guy just blatantly confirms that he is the one that motivated Jenny into making the document. Next up, take a look at the echo chamber in these messages. Not only can you tell that they don't give a fuck about doing the right thing at all, but also they all made their profile pictures red and added evil to the start of their names because I referred to them as friend group red in the original response. And also, at the end, Chaz literally says, rec rumors. No, because like, they actually believe anything. Right after that, Polish Nathan got me a clip of the VC and MaMaMao.
You're like, that people are actually gonna believe him, like these dumbasses.
I mean, like, even if they do believe them, why does that affect you? It's not like it's public information that you wrote the document, so even if he did find stuff about you, it's just, oh, this person. It's not like you were involved with the document anyways, as far as they know.
Also, like, once his thing comes out, I really just want it to be over with, so I'm thinking I'm just gonna, like, I don't know, I'm just gonna apologize to BearDaBear.
I mean, what do you have to apologize for?
You know, I wish I had my camera on right now so you could see the expression on my face as I listen to this. Oh, and right after that, they make a joke about Drake and Nero being a racist.
Isn't this guy, like, canonically a racist?
That's tough. It's like Drake and Nero.
You don't want to say that, Bear's gonna clip it.
Oh, you're right.
And that's all I have. Nah, I'm just kidding. You know how they have nothing to hide and would never lie? Well, right after everything I just showed you, T-Drink suggested, guys, should we purge this chat? Next up, Jenny recently tried claiming that he actually has no recollection of allowing uncensored porn in a server. So, here's a clip I got back in the day of them allowing someone named Chuspa to send exactly that, but coupled with literal gore.
You. BearDaBear, who are you exposing?
Now, pause here, take a look at the top of the screen for me. I'll zoom in for you. That's the Cars channel that allows uncensored porn. Jenny has lied about that channel many times now, and on the screen right now is proof that it existed as recently as January. And also, Jenny giving access to someone who's a minor. And remember T-Drink, the other co-author of the document? Polish Nathan actually sent me a clip of him recently saying the N-word with a hard R while in the Mau 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 VC. I can't play it here since YouTube will kill me, so you can find it in the document discussion server. Next up, very recently, directly inside of my Mau Mau, a user by the name of Jade Rat said, "Guys, BearDaBear's not guilty. I groomed him and made him do that stuff, actually." Absolutely disgusting. Granted though, Jenny replied and deleted both messages. Still though. Next up, remember how in the document Jenny was criticizing me for using the R slur when I was 14 years old? Well, here's Jenny at the ripe age of 18 doing the exact same as recently as a few months ago. Again though, I'm not trying to distract you by saying I may be bad, but they're worse. This section is uniquely to discredit these people and display how nothing they have to say or write can be trusted. To further my point that a lot of this document is straight up fake. I have more, but this video would get way too long at that point. Just remember that if you see anything new come out from these people, they cannot be trusted. Now, let's move on to our final person. If you don't know, Toaster made a video covering certain parts of the document while excluding all context despite having watched my initial response. He's one of the major factors in spreading this misinformation. I'd like to start with the staff in his server. The way that his staff members conducted themselves throughout this was unacceptable, and Toaster seemed completely fine with it. Starting off with Matt. Matt, an admin in Toaster's server, went out of his way to try and get to me, encouraging other members to spam my staff with tickets as well as flooding the discussion channel in the document server. This was either done to try and distract people from actually finding out what really happened, or just to be a general annoyance. Presumably both. This is relatively mild, but I thought I'd mention it anyway considering it's extremely immature behavior coming from someone expected to moderate Toaster's server. The second staff member I'd like to bring up is someone who I will be referring to as N. This guy not only directly pinged me with my real life city, doxing me in a public channel, but also went out of his way to message me separately with more information, such as my name, mother's name, passwords, etc. Most of it was completely wrong, but the intention is still outrageous. He also taunted me, calling me a pussy for not immediately replying. And considering I'm a minor, this person doesn't strike me as someone who should be a moderator in the server of someone who prides themselves in their child safety measures. One more thing I'd like to mention is the kind of community he harbors. In Toaster's server, people were spreading disgusting things about me. They said they were coming after me because I have access to kids, insinuating that I am a genuine predator, which is not the case. I am not a threat to children. I was a child when I sent those things. I was a child groomed by bad influences around me. If this was really about the safety of children, they would have acknowledged that. They would have acknowledged that I, a child at the time, was groomed into acting the way I did because Toaster knew, and he left it out in his video on purpose. Another thing sent in Toaster's server is a message joking about me overdosing like Too Mad, joking about me dying. Neither of these comments received any repercussions. Even when my bestest friend of all time brought it up to Toaster directly, he gave the most half-assed response. I can DM them if you want. Albeit he is now moderating, so credit where credit is due. However, he does it in a very performative way, which comes off as insincere and like he's only trying to build a portfolio for himself. Still, I guess it's an improvement. It's very clear he doesn't care about these kinds of comments being made in his community until it threatens his image though. Speaking of his image, now onto Toaster himself. He knew about my response before making his mini documentary on me, and he completely disregarded it. This guy prides himself in the fact that he did so much research for his video, and yet he included fake evidence, left out major parts of the story, and didn't include any of my response video, which he had access to and saw. And based on his and his community's behavior following these events, I can't help but assume that it was done maliciously, to make me look bad. Which leads me on to my next point. He is 100% doing this for attention. I know this might come across like I'm acting superior and full of myself, but that's not it at all. Because you see, I've been made aware by multiple people that Toast is working on a feature-length documentary on Rec Room as a whole to point people towards his unreleased Rec Room rival. He made his video on me to garner attention before releasing the full documentary. Another reason to believe this is because of someone who used to be good friends with him. This is when we bring back Blitz Nathan. Blitz let me directly know that this was the case, with proof to back himself up that he knows Toaster personally, or used to know him. He wanted me to mention that he no longer associates with him at all. And on the screen right now is a quick go over on how Toaster conducted himself within the discussion server, in which he tried to dissuade anyone from trying to have an actual conversation or meaningful discussion. Throughout this, there was one point he kept bringing up, that he doesn't believe I'm a predator, don't think I'm a pedophile, and that he will correct anyone he sees saying otherwise. This is not the case. He hadn't been seen making an effort to do that at all throughout the conversation he and the people from the discussion server were having, nor in his own server, and not even under his own video. In fact, he hearted comments calling me an up-and-coming offender. This is why context is important. Not to justify the things I did, not to excuse myself from the repercussions, it's to allow people to form their own educated opinions. Because of Toaster's video, people were misled by purposeful ignorance of my situation. The things I did were because I craved validation from people I looked up to. The things I did were because I was 13 and impressionable. People are acting like I'm the same person that I was when I was 13 to 15. I'm not. Holding my actions to the same standards as an adult is nonsensical. You can say what I did was wrong while acknowledging that I was young and influenced. That's what I'm doing. I acknowledge that what I've done is very, very wrong, and I've grown from that. And I hope Toaster can do the same. A lot of people will never see my side of the story. A lot of others just do not care what my side of the story is. In fact, a grand majority of the people who came to my messages to reassure me that I'll be fine and understood me are people who have had similar experiences themselves. People who understand what it's like to be surrounded by the wrong people. People who managed to break free from those circles. And surprisingly, a lot of my biggest haters from back in the day actually end up supporting me from all of this. I'm glad I got to make this video. I'm grateful for all the great people who have helped me throughout the years, and especially Bonnie, Panzer, and Nathan who helped me with this video. Not to mention all of my friends in my friend group who have only been supporting me throughout all of this. And I'm also grateful for all of the terrible people who have severely hurt me that have only made themselves look worse all on their own. After this video releases, I will finally be free. Free from all of this, and free from how unfairly I've been mistreated by Rec Room creators and staff members. In the meantime, you can find me in the document discussion server and my own Discord server. Just remember to always hear out both sides of a story. That's what you should be thriving for. Not just in my situation, but in every other situation that you see come after this about literally anyone in the world. And with that, I'll be seeing you.